The Indus River, a lifeline for millions, has been a source of both life and contention in the Indian subcontinent. Flowing from the Himalayas to the Arabian Sea, it traverses India and Pakistan, making its waters crucial for both nations. The Indus Waters Treaty, signed in 1960, stands as a testament to the complexities of sharing this vital resource. This agreement, brokered by the World Bank, aimed to ensure a peaceful and equitable distribution of the Indus waters. The treaty allocated the three eastern rivers, the Beas, Ravi and Sutlej, to India. Meanwhile, Pakistan received the rights to the three western rivers, the Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. The treaty outlined mechanisms for data sharing, technical cooperation and dispute resolution. For decades, it has been lauded as a remarkable example of international water cooperation, surviving wars and political upheavals. However, the treaty, now over 6 decades old, faces unprecedented challenges. India, experiencing rapid economic growth and facing water stress, argues that the treaty needs to be revisited. Pakistan, heavily reliant on the Indus Basin for its agriculture, views any proposed modifications with suspicion. This essay delves into the historical context of the Indus Waters Treaty, analyzes the reasons behind India's call for modification, and explores the potential global impact of this evolving water dispute. The Indus Waters Treaty cannot be understood in isolation from the tumultuous historical context of its birth. The 1947 partition of British India into India and Pakistan was a deeply traumatic event, marked by widespread violence and displacement. As the two newly independent nations grappled with the legacy of colonialism, the issue of water sharing emerged as a critical point of contention. The Indus River system, previously managed as a single entity, was now divided. The headwaters of all 6 rivers lay in India, giving it significant control over the water flow downstream to Pakistan. This situation created anxieties and uncertainties on both sides, highlighting the urgent need for a comprehensive agreement. The Indus Waters Treaty, signed in 1960 after nearly a decade of negotiations, was thus born out of a necessity to prevent a potential water war. The World Bank played a crucial role in mediating the negotiations and providing financial assistance for water infrastructure projects. The treaty, hailed as a landmark achievement, aimed to address the concerns of both countries. It sought to ensure that India, the upper riparian state, could utilize the waters for its development needs while guaranteeing Pakistan, the lower riparian state, a fair and predictable share for its agricultural and economic sustenance. The world has undergone a dramatic transformation since 1960. The Cold War has ended, new global powers have emerged, and climate change has become an undeniable reality. These shifting geopolitical realities, coupled with evolving domestic priorities, have led India to call for a reconsideration of the Indus Waters Treaty. India argues that the treaty, drafted in a different era, does not adequately reflect the current realities and future needs. It points to the treaty's perceived constraints on its ability to fully utilize its share of the western rivers, particularly for hydroelectric power generation. India maintains that it has adhered to the treaty's provisions for over 6 decades, even as its water requirements have increased significantly due to population growth and economic development. Furthermore, India expresses concerns about what it perceives as Pakistan's obstructive tactics in delaying or opposing Indian infrastructure projects on the western rivers. Citing instances of technical objections raised by Pakistan, India contends that these actions hinder its developmental aspirations and violate the spirit of the treaty. The escalating water scarcity in many parts of India, exacerbated by climate change, has further fueled its desire for a more equitable and contemporary water-sharing arrangement. India's demand for modifications to the Indus Waters Treaty is driven by a complex interplay of factors, including evolving water needs, geopolitical considerations, and a desire for greater control over its trans-boundary rivers. The country's burgeoning population and rapidly growing economy have placed immense pressure on its water resources. India argues that the treaty's provisions, while well-intentioned, have become increasingly impractical and disadvantageous. One of India's primary concerns is the treaty's restrictions on the construction of storage infrastructure on the western rivers. India contends that these limitations hinder its ability to effectively manage water resources and generate hydroelectric power, which is crucial for its energy security. While the treaty allows for certain types of run-of-the-river projects, India argues that these are insufficient to meet its growing energy demands. It believes that the construction of large storage dams is essential to harness the full potential of the western rivers and ensure a reliable water supply. India also expresses frustration over what it perceives as Pakistan's attempts to stall or obstruct Indian infrastructure projects on the western rivers. It cites instances where Pakistan has raised technical objections or sought international arbitration over projects that India maintains are well within the treaty's provisions. India views these actions as deliberate attempts to hinder its development and maintain a strategic advantage. The escalating water scarcity in many parts of India, exacerbated by climate change, has further fueled its desire for a more equitable and contemporary water sharing arrangement.